not come across with me. Much later in December, maybe there is one truthful thing that he would have said. But, Chairperson, I don't want to go beyond honorable member of things from other sources. So, as the honorable member has asked, why I would not concede that is lying when he says, I'll work with you, provided you don't work with Cele and Zuma on this project. It is online. It is online of politics. That thing of working with you in the project of becoming a president or a deputy president. But as I've said, that I would concede if I'm convinced that it was lies. But for the fact that there are other sources, look at it much closer. It did tell me about the payment. It did tell me about the payment. It did tell me and showed me the payment of the team that were argued that their flights, their hotels, and all that kind of thing. So I know. So maybe one person that we need to look at very closely here would be Mkhwanazi with those 12 rand, 12,000, 7,000 and all that. He was making a lot of collection on that. He was making a lot of collection on that. Did that arrive of the minister or of the minister, or but as I ping up, and that should be a worry.
Honorable Sangun.
Thank you, Chair. Not quickly, General, just on this thing that if we were to consider whether Mr. Nhlanhla could have perhaps maybe lied, let's say, about him and the minister and Brown, did you not consider to ask him why he didn't go to Minister Mkhwanazi, who he has such a very good relationship with, and he's funding his presidential ambitions? Why didn't he go and report to Minister Mkhwanazi that Sibiya is making him do what Sibiya asked him to do, to lie? You didn't think to ask him that, maybe, General?
Well, Sibiya was lying about Khumalo. Is that the understanding? That Sibiya did not lie about the minister. He lied. He said Nhlanhla must write the affidavit against Khumalo. Then I don't know why the reason that he would go to minister to say that Sibiya says I must lie. I think it was more of the police issue. Maybe that question would be why it didn't go to the national commissioner or other people. I don't know why, and I don't see the reason why it would go to the minister.
I've got only one question now, but you see why I could not finish early, as I had committed to Honorable Matthias and others, because my questions are provoking further interventions. One last question. I hope, yeah. General, it's my last question. You know, Nhlanhla, this character, Nhlanhla, you made a very good point earlier on that, and maybe you were also answering that question jokingly when one of the members was saying something about you being associated with a character like that, and you made reference to the fact that you are a retiree, you are no longer a minister. If you were a minister, you were going to have to come back and declare in an event where you had made use of the facilities of that person. Now, and I think we all have understood that. But besides the fact that you are a retired Minister General, you are not a retired leader of our movement and our people. And me and you know that our movement has historically prided itself as a parliament of the people of South Africa because of not just itself, but also the conduct of its leaders. Don't you think that if you look at it now with the benefit of hindsight, that your association, in whatever kind it assumes, acquaintance, or there's a word that was used here, in whatever kind that it assumes, don't you think that it does have a negative impact on the standing of the African National Congress? And don't you think in the context like that, you are contributing indirectly in diminishing the standing of the African National Congress by being associated with such characters? Thanks, Chair. That was my last question.
Chairperson, when I met Nhlanhla, I was not arrested. I did not even know that he's a wanted for the things that are there. By the way, many of the leaders of Nhlanhla, leaders of the movement, have been seen with Nhlanhla. I hope you have seen his photo with the president. I hope you have. Yeah, it's public. Is there, and I guess many people would not know, and as I would not have known then, but I repeat of what I said. Taking what I know now, I would not behave as I behaved before I know who he is and what kind of a character.
Bangazita.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm actually prompted by the response of the General, because one would have actually expect that the General, having been the Minister, would have some kind of access to intelligence, information. I find it very difficult to understand and accept Uguti Nhlanhla could actually invade the corridors of leadership of this country without, having been vetted by some security agencies, be it criminal, South African, security, whatever. I can't accept that. I find it very difficult whether or not we still have a intelligence capacity as a country. If not, then we are very vulnerable. Thank you.
General, do you have any comment to make?
Well, the comment is that what I said yesterday to say is not the terrain of the minister to know the intelligence world. It's not. Somebody raised a question about counterintelligence. I just imagine the minister calling the counterintelligence. That would be worst. But with the president and those structures, remember, president has access to all these structures. The state security, for instance, the national commissioner and the head of intelligence in the police can be called by the president without telling me. If they want, they can tell me. If they don't want, they cannot tell me. The state security could be. And I think even the DI, president can have an access to DI. So if you ask me that question, I will take it that such a character would have been known and in the radar of these structures. And at a certain given point, having said, Mr. President, there is such issue with this person. Has that happened? I don't know. Maybe it has happened. Maybe it has been after some time. But there is one problem about photos. It's a serious problem. I'm not sure whether, I know one person that they take a lot of photos with his Julius, Honorable Malem. And then
I don't have a photo with Nhlanhla. Never.
well, at least Usbaru wako. So, and then these photos, you find them moving around. So, and you really say, did I take this one? You know this Nhlanhla issue. There is a photo that I've taken recently. I was not even aware that one person has changed here. So now when he moves around and you see that there are changes, you realize, yeah, man. So at this level, it can happen when people, but I agree with you that at the top level there must be people that are protecting to say, but you can't take it without shouting. So this picture can't be there and all that kind of thing. So I agree with you on that one.
Honorable James.
Thank you, Chair. Just to add on to the Chief Whip's comment, not only does it negatively tarnish the image of the political party to which you belong, it also sends a painful message. Although we are discussing things here at a very high level, it also sends a very painful message to the mother down there whose child has just stolen from her. When you sleep in the hotel of someone that is allegedly embroiled in drug cartels, it means that you almost become indirectly a beneficiary of what we go through in our communities. So when we look at you as a leader, and we expect your conduct to be of such. I accept what you said earlier on, that your relationship, in hindsight right now, when you look at it, it was a mistake. It should never have happened. But I just thought that I would emphasize how the public feels, how we as mothers and as people that's living with this feel when we see you benefiting from our pain and from the monies that our children steal from us. Thank you, Minister.
Honorable Chair, is exactly the point that human beings will make mistakes. You come back and say it happened. I'm sure those mothers would have that question. But when I said, I didn't know this person is, now I know and it won't happen, I believe that they would understand. Thanks.
SC.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members. Just a few questions, General. How much did you know about Kabindi working for IPID? And would it have been at the time when McBride was the head of IPID? Around 2017?
Around 2017, I know that was working for IPID, but I was not in the security establishment in 2017. I was doing one of my top jobs, which was the Deputy Minister of Agriculture.
And subsequently, when you became Minister in 2018?
I think by then he was not there, either suspended or whatever the issue. But I think he was not working by then.
You're talking about in Kabinde, not
yes.
McBride?
Kabinde.
Kabinde. And
McBride? I'm asking about McBride.
no,
too.
no, I'm asking about Kabinde. Kabinde, do you know that he was, and I speak subject to correction, but I heard that he was also involved or embroiled with some issue with O'Sullivan. Did you hear anything about that or know anything about that?
Well, I know that there were issues between them, but mostly my issues, the issues I know is that Sullivan worked closely with McBride, maybe more than Nkabinde. I wouldn't know exactly the involvement of Nkabinde, but I know that there was some common touch.
So the common touch between O'Sullivan and McBride resulted in Nkabinde either being suspended or dismissed or resigning.
Well, I don't know the reason of suspension of Nkabinde.
Now, IPID investigates police misconduct. So that would commence with some complaint about the conduct of a police officer, either a member of the public or a colleague or a whistleblower. Would it be, in your experience, having been minister for so long and obviously interacting, I suppose, with IPID from time to time, that two officers of IPID would go and visit a complainant to discuss the case or maybe take a statement or ask for further information?
We talk of McBride and Nkabinde
Well, generally,
visiting.
I'm going to ask you something specific, but I'm just asking generally.
I don't know why at that level, especially the head of the institution, will also visit me at home. I might be, if there is any form of respect, I might be visited by some officers, but it can't be the head of. It can't be Masimula coming to my place to take the statement and all that. I'm sure he might send some officers to go and do this. So to answer your question, it does sound unusual.
Or does it depend on the profile of the person or some influence that the person might have, either as a high-ranking officer or a high-ranking or well-known politician? Would that
Even so, I would not expect the head of the institution to come and visit at that level. That might be the influence, but I think the influence can only say, as a head, I'm sending you, Junior, to go and see this so and so at his place. But the whole head going there and taking somebody going there, it does sound unusual.
So just your comment then, because the specific case is in 2017 when a chairperson can't handle this question anyway, it seems. In 2017, McBride and Nkabinde visited the home of Minister Mkhwanazi. He was still unemployed, as it were, yet you will recall he was a premier, then he was removed, and it was in that period afterwards in 2017 when one of his bodyguards or someone close to him, a protector, was killed, and he then lodged a complaint because he was accused of being involved in it. And then McBride and Nkabinde visited his home.
I've heard about that visit, but I would just wonder why it would have been the head of the institution and Nkabinde and the McBride taking Nkabinde going there. I really would formulate no opinion why they would have gone there.
And then he appoints a private investigator to almost play an oversight role and ensure that the police officers involved do their work. And Nkabinde is then sent to see the Hawks because Senzo Mkhwanazi alleged that the Hawks were harassing him. What do you make of all that?
Harassing who? Hawks were harassing who?
They allegedly harassing Minister Mkhwanazi.
So he sends the PI, private investigator.
No, he doesn't send the PI. And Kabindi, after the visit by him and McBride to him, Hawks, to speak to the Hawks, and whatever, we don't know what he said to the Hawks or asked the Hawks or told the Hawks. It is because Minister Mkhunu is now complaining that they are harassing him. So what's your comment on this kind of conduct or this kind of conduct or this kind of
What audacity Kabinde had to go to the Hawks and tell them who to work with or not?
Yes, no, I think I just want to understand and how that would work when it's the independent complaints arm of the police visiting a complainant, and then from the complainant going to another arm of the police, the Hawks, who are supposed to be independent, and going to speak to them about harassing a complainant to IPID.
Kabinde was still in IP. Well, Mkhunu then approached the matter. But remember,